Okay, what's going on? Vincent Rep, starting Big Blue at bias.com. Thank you to those who've liked, commented, and subscribed. I appreciate you guys. We're starting to gain a good chunk of subscribers lately, so I really appreciate that. If you guys can give this video a thumbs up, that would also help a lot. It helps the algorithm on YouTube and gets more people to find our channel. So I would really, really appreciate that if you can either like it or if you can comment. That would help too. We're really trying to build a strong community of legitimate, unbiased Giants talk. That's what we're trying to do here. A lot of people who are going to run Giants channels, they're going to be huge fans. Their emotions are always going to spill into it. And there's good content out there. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying this channel is going to be different. It's going to be a little bit more even keel, unbiased, try to take the emotion out of it, and just assess the team how it is. So for people that are looking for that kind of content, we got it right here. So let's talk about a few things in this video. It's not going to be too long. Some roster news. I want to update you with that, but not too crazy. Nothing too crazy that happened, but some roster news, some injury news. Daniel Jones, NFC Offensive Player of the Week, and I want to talk about Darius Slayton at the end of this video. So let's start with some roster news. Steven Parker, who the Giants got rid of yesterday to add Kadar Hollman to the practice squad. They have brought Steven Parker back, the defensive back. Sam Jones, offensive lineman, has been released. So this isn't huge news, but I do want to make sure I keep you guys updated. I'm trying to do videos every single day, so whatever news comes my way, I want to share it with you guys. I think you guys deserve that. So nothing too crazy here, but just something that I did want to update you guys on. Also, Andrew Thomas did not practice today. Foot injury. Some said he was limping, others said he wasn't. I don't know. I haven't seen anything in regard to him missing this week's game against Dallas. It looks like he'll probably be fine. I don't think there's any scare there, but just something also to let you guys know about. Slayton Shepard did not practice, hamstring injuries. Both of them, still those hamstring injuries. We'll get into Slayton at the end of this video. I definitely want to talk about him. Daniel Jones, NFC Offensive Player of the Week. He deserves it. Who is going to challenge this? I think we all understand he had a great week, over 400 yards passing, 10 yards, over 10 yards per attempt. Led a game-winning drive after a comeback victory, game-winning drive, overtime. Whatever it was special. It was great to watch from a football perspective, just to see a player really step up when his team needed it the most. I think anyone who watches that, whether you're a Giants fan or not, you're like, wow, that was a fun game to watch. And it's also fun to watch any young quarterback who you can see start hitting their stride. When you see that, wow, this guy has taken the next step. That is good for the league. Again, it doesn't matter if you're a Giants fan or not. I want to see all the young quarterbacks do good because I want to see it be a competitive league. I want to see Trevor Lawrence and Trey Lance and Mac Jones and Justin Fields. I want to see all these guys ball. I want to see them ball out. I want to see them play really well because I want this league to be good. I want it to be competitive. I want there to be a ton of fun games to watch. And it looks like Daniel Jones could be, he looks like he's the next young quarterback that has taken the next step. And it's certainly trending in the direction that he's going to be a really solid quarterback for many years if this play continues. And, you know, you look at last year, the numbers were not very good with Jones, but you know, you have to be objective. You have to understand the situation. New offense, COVID, a young offensive line with a bunch of rookies from Thomas to Lemieux. Gates is playing, he's playing center, and he's in his new position for him. You had Parrott play. I know that people hate Nate Solder, but I don't think he's a bad player. They didn't have him. So you had a lot of mixing around and young guys, and it's tough. And their offensive line struggled for most of the season. The injury to Barkley, not having him for basically the entire year, they were kind of thin at wide receiver. Shepard missed 4 games, and Slayton was kind of their number one. Evan Ingram was terrible. Slayton, I don't think is a number one, but I think he's a good player. And but overall, and I'll get into Slayton, like I said, I'll talk about him at the end of this video. But overall, the pieces were really not there for Jones to thrive. They are this year. Like I mentioned in the last video, pocket time, 4th best pocket time, 12th best pressure percentage. Pressure percentage isn't everything because quarterbacks sometimes hold on to the football a lot, too long, and it leads to sacks, it leads to pressures, which kind of looks bad on the offensive line when it's really not their fault. But in general, you hope you don't give up many pressures, right? That's the goal. And right now, both sides, Jones and the offensive line, look like they're doing a nice job. Him understanding, having good pocket awareness, getting rid of the football, and understanding and sensing pressure when there is and making sure that he can extend a play, throw it away, whatever it is. So those are good things. The offensive line looks like it's playing fairly well. Their pass block win rate, it really is. It's not as good as it should be. It's in like the high teens. It could be better. Run block win rate could be a little bit better as well. It's in the teens, mid to late teens. They can definitely get better in that category. But overall, I think you watch the game and you're like, looks like Jones has enough time. It looks like, he's not under duress the entire game. And even right now, they're mixing some pieces together. Nick Gates they've lost. Shane Lemieux on IR. Ben Bredesen, a late trade that they made. He wasn't even available this past week. So, you're still mixing and matching pieces. So I think that they're doing fairly well considering what they have and the pieces that they're putting together. And let's talk about Slayton very quickly here. Darius Slayton is a big play wide receiver. Former 5th-round pick, I think they found a really nice player in the 5th round. He's averaging 15.4 yards per reception for his career. That's very, very good. That is very good. That's a home run hitting wide receiver. A lot of people have been down on him lately. I think it's shiny toy syndrome, okay? They have Galladay, he's a new shiny toy, and he's good. And Kadarius Toney's a new shiny toy, and he's good. And Shepard's having a really, really good season. So a lot of people are like, who cares? Slayton stinks. He dropped that pass against Washington. Just get rid of him. Trade him or put him number 5 on the depth chart or 6. And, don't even use him. Who cares? I wouldn't be giving up on him just yet. I wouldn't be looking to trade him. I wouldn't be looking to, just sit him on the bench and never let him see a snap again. He's still a solid football player. He's still a guy who makes big plays. Again, 15.4 yards per reception, that is really, really good. Especially a guy that you find in the 5th round. He had a really nice rookie season. He didn't step up to that wide receiver 1 kind of tier that some expected him last year, but he's still a quality wide receiver. And consider this too. Galladay's had injury issues. Shepard's had injury issues. Ross has had a lot of injury issues. So let's say you did trade Slayton and you said, we don't really need him. He's like our 5th guy now. I wouldn't trust any of those 3 guys that I just mentioned to stay healthy for the rest of the season. There could be, a multi-week stretch where maybe all 3 of them are not available. And then you're just relying on Kadarius Toney as your wide receiver 1, and then you don't really have much depth behind him. Then you're playing Dante Pettis as, your next guy or whoever. Okay, so all I'm saying is, I know that Kadarius Toney's stealing the show, and you have Galladay, and you have Shepard, and all that, and it's easy to just forget about Slayton and say he dropped that pass against Washington, he stinks, and just who cares about him. He's a good player. He's still a quality player. Certainly would not give up on him. Certainly wouldn't trade him. Legitimate, valuable depth, at least that. If let's say the Giants don't want to play him as much because they like some of their other pieces, he's still a quality player that if you get an injury or 2, like they're seeing right now, think about their current situation. Shepard and Slayton are not playing. You're telling me that can't happen for a multi-week stretch with, let's say, Shepard and Galladay? It could happen. We've seen it happen in the past with these guys. They've had some injury issues. So Slayton is a good player. Don't get distracted because Toney's stealing the show and Shepard and all these other guys. He's still a quality player, and he's definitely a player that I would want on my roster.